Please welcome to the stage Matt Matthews.
Wow, thank you. So every summer growing up, my family went on a road trip to Provo, Utah. Provo is a lesser-known Mormon hotspot home to the Brigham Young University, the Missionary Training Center, and pioneer reenactments. We would pile, all 9 of us, I'm the youngest of 7, all 9 of us would pile into our old Chevrolet Suburban, which only seats 8, mind you. There's the driver's shotgun and then 2 rows of 3. I was usually in the back with the luggage, and drive the 600 or so miles from Orange County to Provo. Normally, this trip only takes 9 hours, roughly. But with our family, it took 12 due to the frequent pit stops and near constant fights over personal space. So to combat this, our mom came up with 2 rules for the trip. The first one was she would buy you whatever snack you wanted to keep you appeased. And the second was she would also buy you whatever book you wanted to read on the journey. She was raising a family of nerds. She knew how to appease us. So when I was 14, we had to drive my sister Emily up to her freshman year at Brigham Young. And there were only 3 of us at home at the time, so that means there was only 5 going on the trip. And to kind of celebrate this new space in the car, we decided that the back row, the back seat next to the luggage and snacks, we would take turns sitting there and enjoying the space that had not been previously afforded. So, and for this trip, my snack of choice was beef jerky, and my book was Dragon Prince by Melanie Ron. Thank you. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, Dragon Prince is about the prince of the desert, Rohan, and his beloved sunrunner witch, Shoned. It had everything I was looking for in a story at the time. It had magic, it had dragons, it had a muscular superhero. I mean, I didn't realize I was into that then because I was still in the closet. So I thought that I was attracted to Rohan's leadership skills. Like that right there, that's a good leader. And so we pack up the car and we begin our journey to Provo. And it was I started to read, and it was one of those experiences that kind of blurs the line between reading and mastication. Like I was consuming this novel. It was amazing. And right around the border between California and Nevada, it was my turn in the back seat. And I was really excited because then I could just sit and read and not have to worry about space. And also around that time, I read a scene unlike any other I had read before. To give you a little background, I'm a late bloomer, I still am, and I had never read a sex scene in my life. I hadn't discovered the magic of porn. And so I started to read this. And in this particular moment, Rohan's political rival has sent his daughter, Ianth, to seduce Rohan. So she drugs him, and he wakes up in her bed. And surrounding the bed are tapestries of dragons mating. Already. And so Ianth enters her bedchamber naked, and she slowly makes her way to the bed. And when Rohan wakes up, she's convinced him that she is her beloved and they are going to make an heir. And I'm like, and so it goes that she slowly gets onto the bed and lowers herself onto his erect member and arches her powerful back, and her heavy breasts start heaving. And I lost interest at that point, but the previous sentences really caught my eye. To be fair, I didn't even really know what an erect member was, that phrase, but I knew I liked it. I had an idea. And so I started to reread them over and over, and I had a reaction, which is a euphemism for saying I was fucking hard as a rock. And I knew that at this moment, I had to take care of the situation at hand. So I look at my family and reach into the back and grab a blanket and arch my knees so that the blanket's over them, and I make a little tent. And I ease myself out of my pants, and I start to explore. And I use that word because I was definitely exploring. I'd fooled around a little with myself. We were on again, off again. But I'd never actually taken the time and done it with intention. This was the first time that I had been flirting with what I considered the possibility of sin. Not only was I playing with myself, I was also playing with my immortal soul, but it felt so good. And so I started, and it felt amazing, and I kept reading in his erect member, her powerful back, and I was repeating those. It became almost a mantra. And I get close when all of a sudden I hear, "Matt, can you pass the chips?" Now, the rule of the back seat is because you are sitting next to these snacks, you have to hand them to whoever asks for them. We're on the road. And so, with the same hand, I reach into the back and hand my sister a bag of chips that she shouldn't be eating. I can't tell her why. And watch as she begins to eat this bag of chips. It's just awful. I'm such a horrible person. But I have one of those enduring erections of youth, so it only takes me about a beat to get over it, and I'm back. And I have to kind of start over, and so I'm really, really getting into it. And then I hear, "Matt, you have the letter E." Now what that means, for those of you who haven't been on a Mormon road trip, is that we are now playing the alphabet game. And the alphabet game is where you look for something that starts with the letter of the alphabet you have. And so, my letter is E. I'm gonna go with ear. But I am determined, so we continue to play this game while I am jacking off, and it just so happens that my next letter is J. Jawline. And then I say, no, I can't play this anymore. I'm reading. And so I start again the final time, and I can feel myself reaching the finish line, and it is amazing. And I start to come and come. I grab one tissue, and two, and three, and it's getting out of control. But I will say, when I did come, I came like a fucking serial killer. It was just blank. I was experiencing depths of pleasure heretofore unknown to myself. And just so you know what I was imagining while I was having this sexual revolution, Rohan looks like Kevin Sorbo. Ianth looks like Sharon Stone, and they're slowly sitting in front of each other, just grinding. Not touching, just slowly. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, that's hot. And so I finish, and the cold realization of what I've done and what I'm doing sets in, and I look down at these tissues. In a car, driving through the Nevada desert. I don't know when we're gonna stop, and I have to take care of this mess. So I wad them up, and I put them inside an empty Pringles can, and put the lid on, and just kind of put it in the trash can. And for the rest of the trip, my family had to wonder why the car smelled like pancake batter. Thank you.